I thought for my discussion, I was going to talk a little bit more about the technical side of things going on in Minecraft and running a server. I'm by no means the biggest expert in this field or anything like that. In fact, I've been really interested in seeing everything everyone's been sharing in the EVO Google Plus group. People's blog posts, especially Linda. Actually, I was really impressed with some of the things you've been doing with your eighth graders. So I was going to talk specifically about our server and how it's running. And actually, I guess my title is kind of a misnomer because I wasn't going to focus too much on plugins. Just talk about them a little bit. But we'll see, if you guys have some questions and in what direction things will go. But I wanted to start by kind of going through the steps that we took to set up the server. And wanted to look at a couple of things like how the server properties file works, which, as you guys know, I was just able to edit that in the game and take care of that spawn protection area issue that you guys were looking at. I'm also going to look at like how we can install custom maps, and those could be one player or two or multiplayer maps. And then again, resource packs as well. You're welcome, Linda. I'll talk a little bit about mods. In this case, I found that as I was talking a lot about servers, getting into the mod stuff is a little bit, it's a lot of fun, but there's basically like two directions that you can take. You can either go with Forge or you can go with Bucket. And Forge is the one that I've been using more, and I found that the big kind of barrier with Forge is not only do you have to install it on the server, but also the clients need to have it as well. With Bucket, I believe with Bucket, the client doesn't actually need anything special. So a lot of servers actually use Bucket because then like anyone can log into them. All right, in any case, we'll talk about like what we did when we set up a server. First of all, we thought about, how many players we were going to have on the server. And in our case, we wanted to make sure it was a dedicated server, always on, and what kind of resources we had. A lot of people actually use cloud services to host their Minecraft servers. There's a lot of possibilities available, and I think for educational ones, sometimes you can get them actually donated, and you don't even have to pay for them. But usually they have a monthly charge. Now, what I decided to do was, since I have a lot of Macintosh computers around at work, I decided to use one that I had nearby, and it seems to have been meeting our needs so far. I'm kind of curious. I know, Linda, you had a server set up. Did you use some sort of cloud hosting, or did you actually set it up yourself?
Advise that the silence, all because you want to be impossible.
Okay. Yeah, and I guess the status of Minecraft EDU is kind of in limbo at the moment while we're waiting for the release of Minecraft Education Edition. Yeah, I think that's a good recommendation. So basically what I had was this 2009 Mac Mini, and I think you'll be able to continue using it. I don't think there's going to be anything that stops you from being able to use it, at least. The first thing that we needed to do was basically determine, basically get it set up. And I just wipe the computer, set up a new account on it, just an account for Minecraft. I'm not really running anything else on it. It does have a web browser and things like that, but I really wanted to make sure it was a computer nobody else was using, and that all of that RAM could be dedicated to the server itself. And so we started by installing Java runtime environment, which you need in order to run the server. And I did download Minecraft to it, and and I mentioned this on the next slide, I did play Minecraft for about a minute, and I think that allowed it to bypass the end user license agreement, and so it knew that I was it was a legal version of Minecraft. And I did not use the server software that's provided by Mojang. I used this open source software that I found on GitHub, and it had been recently updated. If you're not familiar with GitHub, it's a repository for open source software, and so you can often find like the kind of projects that people are putting together like this. And so I found this server software on GitHub. And I went ahead and set up my my Minecraft account on the computer to run it. The other tool that is necessary is some type of code editing software. I like to use Text Wrangler. It's really simple on a Mac. It doesn't have a lot of bells and whistles, but you can just look at base text files. If you're on Windows, a good alternative is it's called Notebook++, and its symbol is like a lizard. I don't know if you guys have seen that one. Oh, the Text Wrangler or the Notepad? Yeah, that's really good. It's really similar to Text Wrangler if you have to use a Windows machine. So, like I said, I opened and ran Minecraft once and logged in with my Mojang account and agreed to the EULA. And then I set up a specific folder for the software. And you can see here that this is the folder that everything that came from that GitHub version of the server is in there. But you can also see there's two folders that contain the two maps that we've used for this server. You can also see these JSON files, and those are files that are they're encrypted. They're in Java, but they can be read when the Minecraft server is running in Java. So that's where like specific things about the server are stored. Like for example, you can see banned IPs, banned players, or a little further down you see ops. And in the older versions of Minecraft, you could actually edit those files, and you could just open it up with Text Wrangler or Notepad++ and just type the names of the ops onto, and by ops I mean anyone who has admin access to the server. But yeah, you could just type the names of the ops onto it was an ops.txt file. But in these newer versions, they've switched over to this JSON format. And so you also see these files then in JAR. And those two files, the ones that say Minecraft server.jar, those are the actual Java files that run when the server's running. And as I mentioned, you can also see the two map files. The other thing that's really important is we have the start.command down at the bottom, and I'll show you what that looks like in just a moment. But the start.command is basically the command your computer needs to start the server running. And then you also have the server properties folder file. And I'll talk about the server properties file first, because that's the one that you actually use to kind of set up the parameters of your server. Oh, I see Jeff has joined us too. Hi, Jeff. So this is what our server properties file looks like at the moment. Okay, so I'm looking at it in Text Wrangler. I see Rose is typing something here. Probably hi, Jeff. Okay. So have you guys, okay, I know Linda is familiar with this file. I was wondering if Rose was familiar with this file too. Okay. So you can see actually the file's name is server.properties, and I use Text Wrangler to open it. Now, you could open this file with just your regular Notepad application. I don't know if you're on Windows or on a Mac, but like any kind of like basic text reader can open this. I wouldn't open it in Microsoft Word, for example, because in Word, it would apply additional metadata to it, especially if you save it. So you just want kind of like a raw text reader. Got it. So as you look through this file, this includes all of the information that your server is going to look for when you boot it up. And so when you first edit it, you might edit it before you actually start the server. If you look over on line 38 near the bottom on this, you can see where it says level seed, and there is a long string of numbers next to it. That is actually the seed that starts the world generation. And that seed, I could just leave that empty, and the server would just pick a random number to start the server generation. Or there are lots of places on the internet where people have kind of stored specific seeds, because these seeds have generated specific structures and specific biomes that they thought were really interesting. And so in some cases, people even use letters instead of words. No problem, Jeff. Yeah, that's why I came back. I came home early. All right. Yeah, you can also see right below the level seed, you have this MOTD, and that's probably the easiest thing for you to recognize, because the MOTD is the message of the day. And that basically is that message that you see when someone is logging into Minecraft. So, am I sharing? I'm not sure if I'm sharing my screen there. So, if you were to open your Minecraft and just go to your multiplayer menu, you would see that same message of the day where it says it's a brand new world, and that's what I put in there. And if I were to change that, then of course you'd get a different message. Okay. You can also see some various other parameters here, and what I found to be really interesting here, and what I found to be really useful, is if you look at line 30 on the right, the one that says level name. Okay, this is what you would use if you wanted to change maps out, and you would give your level a name, and that level, it becomes the name of your world. So you can see right now it's called Electronic Village Online Survival. Before we made the change, it was Electronic Village Online, and it was the other server, the other map. Now that map is still saved. And if you look back in what the folder looks like right now, you can see both the Superflat one and the Online Survival one are saved. And so just depending which level I point this at, that's going to tell it where the server goes. You can also see I specified on lines 27 and 26 the IP and the port that you're connecting to. You recognize this as the address that we connect to. You can also see over on line 3 on the left where we set spawn protection to 0. That's what Linda had suggested I do when you guys were in the game a few minutes ago, and that had to do with the area around spawn and whether or not it's editable or not. Rose is typing something. Yeah. Okay. A little further down, you can see game mode equals 0. That of course means that you're being forced into into survival mode, and each of the different game modes has a different number. So I believe it's 0 for survival, 1 for creative, and then they also have like an adventure mode and a spectator mode. So you can make these changes on the server properties. You could also see a little further where it says spawn monsters equals true. That was the thing I had to change the other day to enable the monsters. Okay. Any other questions about the server properties file? Is it pretty self-explanatory? Okay. Moving on. Somebody's typing something. Okay, moving on. We have our start command, and yeah, good call. Yeah, you'll notice what line number was that? Mob damage. Yeah, Linda just pointed out that I have mob damage turned off. And when we talk about mobs, of course, we're talking about the animals and monsters that appear in the game. And I did this actually because I've noticed some other multiplayer servers do this. I'm on another multiplayer server that focuses a lot on building. Even in survival mode, they want people to build beautiful structures. And the problem is you always have these creepers coming along and damaging us. You build your nice fence and you find all these ways to keep the monsters out, but creepers finally come along and destroy stuff. And so that's exactly it. What you're saying, Rose, is you can turn off the damage. So the creepers can still kill you, but they won't hurt your beautiful buildings. Yeah. Yeah, that was something that, mob griefing equals false. I think, you can actually set it as a game rule in the game too. If you're the op in the game, there's this whole set of game rules. You can, I believe you do. It's like typing it too. So yeah, you could actually. You can actually give a lot of these server commands in the game. And actually, that's also how it works as the ops. Like if I want to add someone to the op list, all I have to do is type like something like that. Okay. So moving on, this is the start command. And actually that exec, I don't even really need there. But what I did on the server was I basically found this start command, which again was in this folder here. It's like the third one from the bottom. And then using that as a starting point, I open that file up, and then these two commands here are basically allocating the memory that is going to be used for your Minecraft server. And over at the end, you see where it says no GUI. So that basically means it's telling it that you're not actually running an instance of Minecraft. You're not actually playing on the game. You're just going ahead and running the server kind of as a headless server. Now, in this situation, I was doing it on a Mac, but basically, I wanted to take a picture. Let me send you this picture. So I have it set so I can remote into the server, and so like currently. What I can see, I'm going to just upload another file for you here. Uploading. Okay, why can't I get it to show? Okay, well, basically what I have is, since it's a very clean account, basically I just have like a big empty desktop and then one folder that has everything that's in the server. So like you can see here where it says desktop, Minecraft server OS, master, survival. So inside there, that's where it's all entirely self-contained. And then I pulled that start button out and I made an alias on the desktop. And that's something really easy to do on a Mac. All you have to do is right-click on a file. So in this case, I right-clicked on this file. And you right-click on that file, you make an alias, and then you can put that alias somewhere else. And so I dragged that alias to the desktop. And that alias, if I double-click on that alias, then it starts the server. So easy enough. And so like if I have to make any changes to the server properties file or anything like that, like I just did with you guys, I can make the change, and I have to restart the server. So you guys had to leave in order for the server properties file to change. And then you might remember early on, like actually after the server had been on just a couple days, we had a power outage in Athens, similar to like how we're having the really bad snow today. When there was a power outage, I basically went back and set, well, first of all, I had to set it so I could log in remotely, which on a Mac you can do using screen sharing. But I basically set it also in the power saving settings, so it'll automatically reconnect and automatically log into the Minecraft account when it boots up after a power failure. And also I had to set it like so for the Minecraft user, it would automatically run that alias when it starts up, and then that way the computer will always be running. As long as it's on, it'll automatically start up whenever the computer turns on. Okay. So I also wanted to talk a little bit about custom maps, and I found some interesting custom maps on this page here, this minecraftmaps.com, particularly the Pengies trivia. What's really nice is all you have to do to install a custom map in a single-player Minecraft is install it in the saves folder in your Minecraft install. And so whatever operating system you're on, if you find the saves folder, you can install a map there. And even if you're using vanilla Minecraft, you can often open these maps. One thing you have to watch out for, though, is they're often designed for a specific version of Minecraft. And if that's the case and you have a different version, you might experience some problems with the maps. I tried out this Pengies trivia map the other day, and I thought it was a really good one. I recommend you try it out. And it might even be a good kind of jumping off point for making trivia games. Because basically it was like a maze that you run through, and then every question that came up was a choice, and you had to go into a different doorway, and it basically kept score along the way. And I thought that was a good potential type of map to use. Yeah, Linda. The tourist, huh? Yeah, and I think that'd be good, especially if you started to run multiple servers that you wanted your students to connect to one or another. The tourist. I'll have to check that one out. Nice. Thanks, Jeff. Yeah, and so it's good. So yeah, the custom maps, I think, like, I don't have a lot of experience with those, but one thing that I found is it's really easy to change the maps, both with single player and with multiplayer. Yeah, Linda.
Really? Terrible mother when you were terrible. That's
I don't think the individual maps would be property of Microsoft now. I think people still own the maps that they've created. Excellent. Thank you, Linda. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, that's what Jeff had been saying.
how are you? It'd be a lot better if like traveling companion could actually speak to tasks instead of stopping by carrying a single bar of task lines. Great.
And that's my cue. I'll call you later. Did I get you wanting something mix a blood bag with a jar of ants? Oh, one, that was me. And two, I'm now so I get creative. Why not? Because he doesn't need to worry about the specifics of the national pregnancy with those hard babies.
What is it? Oh, not be speaking to that one. Very good at class.
Now I am.
You also work with class very early.
Sure you can handle scenarios if you can handle all of this on pregnant. That'll be described as one points. Yeah.
So, Uncle Step. Uncle Step. That creepy dude that hangs out with mom is not dead. See, the thing is, she's not there. He's going to turn those kids over. She's not What's that mean? Just barely not being You know, these last few weeks, your jokes have been quite sad. What? Brother, sucks to hear your jokes in this life. What I need, David, is your patience. I'm the future above love. I'm here now. Trust me.
Can you guys see my screen now? Can you guys see my screen now?
I'm trying to get the screen sharing on the server.
Yeah, I'm trying to get the screen sharing on the server so you can kind of see what's going on. How about now? Yeah, it just gets stuck on the loading screen for me. Okay, well, I wanted to talk briefly about mods. And again, my experience with mods, I have not really used them with students at all. It's pretty much been in my own kind of experience playing the game, but I can definitely see the potential, especially with Computercraft. And I was really impressed that Linda was using computercraft.edu. I just saw that that update had been made a couple months ago, and I'm actually really happy for those developers because I really like their product in Computercraft. So I'm glad that they've done so many different versions of it at this point. Computercraft is great because you can actually program the computers in the game, and you can start learning Lua. And it's an actual language that is used for programming games. And so, you know, this next generation of game designers could use Minecraft as their workshop, basically, for trying things out. The turtles in Computercraft very much made me nostalgic for the days when I was typing in turtle commands into Logo. And yeah. But it's really something. Some of the things that some people are able to do with it, where you could program a turtle to build a house and then just repeat and build the same house over and over and over again, and use it for urban planning. Or you could be like me and just use it to make a diamond hunting miner. And then, of course, it gives you this entire other kind of search for information, and you find yourself looking at the Lua forums late at night and, you know, trying to figure out why your program's not working. And so the kids can kind of understand what it's like to learn how to code. I'm kind of curious about what Linda's seen with the Computercraft EDU program.
And finally, the bells have stopped ringing, so.
Mm-hmm.
The Computercraft EDU that adds to it is, and especially you can use it for younger kids. It has a visual interface, which has like arrows up and arrows down. And so that's our intro into our programming courses for our computer literacy. They're able to get programming a lot quicker than having to learn the actual code itself. Then we move on to other coding programming after that, but it's a real fast and easy way for them to get started in programming their little turtle to do different things. And
like what kind of...
Well, we use the Turtle Island map that Mike Harvey created.
And like what kind of...
And each of the students put into a separate maze, and they have to work themselves out of that maze using their turtles. So it's motivation to get out of that area in order to get into the next maze and so on. And so that's what his app helps do.
Yeah, that sounds like a good. Sorry, I've got an echo here.
I think I might.
Yeah, that sounds like a good. Sorry, I've got an echo here.
It's probably. Yeah, let me put my headset in. Hold on. Let me mute myself and let me get. Is that better? Are you getting still an echo?
Yeah. No, I'm not getting an echo anymore.
Okay.
I don't
was
think.
Just my speaker.
Yeah, when you went to restart your speaker, my whole instance kind of reset, and I had to reallow my microphone. So I don't know if it was something you did or something I did.
No, it's probably you're hearing your voice through my speakers. I forgot about putting my earbuds in.
Oh, okay. So, so in terms of installing mods, in my experience, I've used Forge, and I know Jeff has used Forge as well. And from what I understand about Forge, the client also needs to have Forge, as I mentioned at the beginning. So that could be kind of something that makes things tricky, to make sure people have installed the right version and things like that. But I think if you have like a home page for your server, that's not a big deal because you can put whatever files you want your users to download on that page. I was actually toying with the idea of actually setting up like a computer craft server for the EVO. Never ended up doing that though. But I find that, what's Jeff saying here?
Well, that's what's nice about Minecraft EDU. It's already a Forge server.
Mm-hmm.
So when the students log in, the launcher is actually Forge, and it's real easy to add mods into Minecraft EDU. Most of them are already added to it, and you just have to select which ones you want to use. So for the noob that's out there that scared about having a server or anything, it makes that jump a little easier for people who are not familiar with servers.
Yeah. And then I've noticed like a lot of like the servers that are out there now that have a lot of users are bucket servers, and they have a lot of tools like allowing for multiple servers that are like multiple worlds that are sharing one chat. Oh, hi, Rose. Sorry, hi. Of course, I just repeat, hi, Rose. But yeah, but also once you get, I want to make sure I pronounce your name right. Yeah. So actually, that was the other mod I was going to talk about, and that was this TARDIS mod, which I found it as part of a mod pack, the Feed the Beast mod pack, but I've installed it just on its own on a Forge server in my own house, and I installed it at a time when I was watching a lot of Doctor Who, and the funny thing is the way you operate this TARDIS is you have to run around it in circles and flip up a bunch of handles and hit a bunch of random buttons, and it's really kind of unclear how anything works. But then, once you pull the right lever, you start hearing that sound and you know that the TARDIS is working, and then it transports you to some other place on your server. And again, it's just kind of another way that you can interface with the game, and that one's also a Forge mod, and again, like I said, it's part of Feed the Beast. And if you're interested in looking at like more of what you can do with a lot of different mods, I'd recommend checking out Feed the Beast. Once you try them out, they have a lot of different options to choose from. The one I was looking at was Tech World, and so it only had mods that were related to technology. So it had like Reactor Core and Galacticraft, and this TARDIS mod was somehow included in it. And once you have Forge or Bucket, the way that you actually run the server is exactly the same as what I was describing before. You'd have a server command like this that you would run in your terminal, or you could even edit this file. And then your line 3, where it says Minecraft Server 1.888, it's going to be whatever that jar file is that you download from Forge or from Bucket, and you could run it like that. Now on the client side, you'd also have to install it, and then when your Minecraft launcher comes up, you do have a spot where you have to actually change your profile to indicate that you're using Forge. And so again, like Jeff said, that could be something that gets in the way of people starting smoothly. But once they get used to it, it's not a big deal. What else was I going to say about this? Oh yeah, so once it's installed, then the other thing you need to do is find your mods directory, because then you can actually change out the mods. You can update them if there's new updates, or you can add new ones. And so going back to your base folder here, you would have another folder that exists here that says mods, M-O-D-S. And then within that, you would see lots of zip files, or sometimes jar files. And each one of those would be one of your mods. And you might find that some mods may not work with each other. If you're doing some troubleshooting, you might have to remove mods and kind of add them back one at a time. But that's one of the nice things about those mod packs, is that they've kind of already done the curating for you, and they've already kind of made it work. Yeah, so that's actually that's about everything I was going to talk about today. The other thing that I was going to mention was also the resource packs, which you can use to kind of like skins to kind of change how the game looks. I was playing around with a few of those earlier today, like a Super Mario Brothers one. But they don't really change like how the game operates. It's just kind of the looks and sound of it. But sometimes people complain, oh yeah, Minecraft, it's so blocky. Well, you can get a more realistic resource pack if you want, and you can install that on your server, and your users could then download it when they start playing, and it'll look like a completely different game. What's up?
Yeah, our students, we did a Civil War battles project, and they used a Civil Wars resource pack that was able to give them skins like the Confederate or the Union, and that really helped kind of make it look more realistic.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and one thing that we've done a lot, and it's something I wanted to use with Minecraft, is in our advanced reading course, we've been alternating on and off with using the Hunger Games as our text. And I know at least one teacher did an activity where they ran around outside and played Hunger Games, basically, and they had and they ran around and kind of tagged each other. They basically played tag, except for you kind of died when you got tagged. But there's a Hunger Games plugin that you can do as like a little mini game. And I've seen videos where people have done, for example, you do Hunger Games, but you're doing it in ancient Rome, on an ancient Rome map, or on like an old New York City map. Yeah, that's exactly what I'm talking about. So kind of like to augment their reading of the book, you can also throw in playing Hunger Games. Or I think we could even do Hunger Games, like if we wanted to do Hunger Games on our creative map. It's a map we're familiar with, we have hiding spots and stuff like that. But, change the settings so it's kind of harder to destroy blocks and hide and that type of thing. Yeah, has anyone else used any other plugins with or without their students?
Most of the servers I set up, I just use the FTP server downloads.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
so whatever came with that,
Mm-hmm.
used it. I have created my own bucket servers in the past just to use like economy or other things that I wanted to add. There's a tree feller and some other ones that are convenient for bringing down trees.
Mhm.
If you hit the bottom block, the whole thing comes down.
Mhm.
And then, but most of
I like.
most of them have been mod packs.
Yeah. Yeah. Feed the Beast is really great. There's often so much there that you can't really explore all of them. But one that I like is Forest Craft, and another one is Bibliocraft that kind of gives books more powers and things like that. But what was the other one? Sorry, I was going to put up a link to Feed the Beast here.
And another launcher is AT Launcher. There's AT Launcher. There's also TechIt Launcher. Those all have different mod packs on them as well.
Mm-hmm.
Usually, if the mod pack has been curated enough, then they'll create a server download as well as just playing it single player.
Yeah, and again, if you get just that server file, again, you can create a launcher just like this launcher that I showed you on the slide earlier. The other thing, yeah, what I was going to mention is I really like the mods that kind of like enhance the play. Things like, for example, like you're off in survival world and you die and it's like, oh no, I've lost all my gear. I'm never going to get it back. I can't find myself. There are mods that allow you to create, it'll create like a little tombstone and all your stuff's inside of it. So if somebody stumbles along and finds the spot where you died, that you can get your stuff back. Another one that I was using was a simple warp mod that basically allows you to warp to like any kind of like preset warp that you make, and you just use the command line to make the warps. But every time you do, you take a little hit to your health. So it's like not really encouraging you to do it, but you do have the extra convenience of being able to warp around. So that's kind of like a small mod that I like using. But I could imagine that using a computer craft with kids of that age, you could probably, I mean, that seems like the right age to actually be using something like this and using the visual interface to start learning how to code. I think it'll go a long way to just kind of understanding how the technology works.
Exactly. The other thing too is if you don't want to use mods, but you do want warps, you can use command blocks to do that.
Yeah.
That makes it really easy. So, people want that type of movement from one place to another, but don't want to have to deal with mods. Command blocks are great.
Yeah.
They can do a lot of cool stuff.
Yeah, and actually, yeah, I just started using command blocks on the creative server for the first time, and some of you visited the little training area that I was creating that was generating mobs. But I do think like a nice use of the command blocks would be to create maybe like a room or an area where you can just hit buttons and it'll take you to all the various places on the server. I think that's kind of like an easy use of that. But yeah, the command blocks, they've also found some ways to make some pretty complex commands in the command blocks, like having command blocks that kind of generate other command blocks that have commands built into them and kind of embedding everything. I was really surprised at how much people could do with those.
Oh, what's incredible is when you click one and it actually builds something.
Yeah.
It just creates this huge, massive building out of it. It just, and the coding that goes into it. I mean, when you look at what you have to paste into the command block is incredible.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's why like I was really kind of surprised when we first started the server. Almost immediately as people started joining it, I had people asking me about getting access to command blocks. And that was something I was a little nervous about because command blocks could you could potentially use it to delete the map or change or set it so the ops aren't ops anymore, or there's all sorts of mischief you can get into with a command block, but at the same time, they're really useful. And again, if you want to use command blocks, that is something you have to set up in your server properties. That's another line here, line 22 on the server properties is this enable command block equals true. And then in the game, you actually have to use the command that's the give command. So the command would look something like this.
You got a chance to
And yeah, and you can use those command blocks without having any without having any mods installed at all. Yeah, so overall, those were the things I wanted to discuss. I'm happy that Linda was able to join us and share some of her experiences. I was wondering if anyone else had any kind of technical, geeky questions about the server or about customizing Minecraft. No questions? All right. Well, thank you everybody for attending my session, and it was glad to talk with you guys. It's cold here in Athens, so yeah. Let me know if you need anything else for the server, and yeah, and I got to talk to Jeff about our plan to keep it running after the EVO is over. All right. I'm going to stop the recording. Oh, they're all typing. Yeah, what do you think? Should we change it to Feed the Beast server? Oh yeah, it's 1 a.m. for Vance right now. Okay, I'm actually stopping the recording now.